Hello guys, welcome to the Harvard Lab. My name is Babatunde Arowolo, and today we're going to be talking about using a calculator to convert a fraction to a rounded percentage. Okay, so this topic is really self-explanatory, right? The topic is self-explanatory. We're going to be given a fraction, right? A fraction basically means a number with a numerator and a denominator. So in this case, we have a numerator here of 3, which is the top number, and denominator of 32, which is the bottom number. And based on this fraction, we're going to have to find the percentage, right? So every fraction kind of works in a percentage format, right? So we're going to, based on that, we're going to have to find the percentage of the fraction given. Okay, so in this kind of question, the first step I want to take is I want to divide the fraction completely into some kind into a decimal form. Like I want to divide and break it down, right? Okay, so we're going to use the Alex calculator in this case. So this is 3 over 32, right? Because that's the fraction. So this is 3 divided by 32. So I want to divide this first. So I'll see what that takes. This is 0.09375, right? So when I divide 3 by 32, that gives me 0.09375, right? So I want it to be in this format, okay, because this is the only format that will show us um how it would be related to a percentage, right? And so now percentage, since we know percent, it basically means 100, right? So if I say out of 100, I got a 90 in my test, right? This is a 90% because this is going to be divided by 100, right? So we're working with 100. That's why it's percent. So whenever I see percent, that basically means 100, right? So we're going to have to change this to a percent, so which brings me to the next step. So the next step is I'll multiply it by 100. Whatever I get, I multiply by 100, which is 9.375, right? And so this is the percentage. This is basically the percentage of 3 over 32, right? And so we're asked to round this answer to the nearest tenth of a percent. Okay, so what this means is we're going to look at the numbers behind the decimal point and ask ourselves, okay, which one is the tenth in this case? Okay, so when working with decimal, with all these decimals, when we'll be asked what the tenth is, this is the tenth, right? So okay, so let's look at tenth is basically saying 10. 10 is basically means 10, right? Hundred basically means 100. Thousand basically means 1000, right? So the tenth comes first before the hundred, right? Because the tenth is smaller than the hundred. So this is the tenth, this is the hundred, and this is the thousand. So 3 is the 10, 7 is the hundred, and 5 is the thousand. And we're asked to round an answer to the nearest tenth of a percent, right? So we're gonna have to round this 3 based on 7 and 5, right? Okay, and to do that, we're gonna have to ask yourself, what number is behind the tenth, right? The number behind the tenth in this case is 7, right? And we're gonna ask ourselves, is 7 bigger than 5 or is it smaller than 5, right? So our objective right now is to remove these two numbers behind 3, these 7 and 5, right? And so to do that, a specific rules applied. So if the number behind 3 is greater than 5, we'll add 1 to 3, and then these 7 and 5 become zeros. But if the number behind in this case 3, right? Behind the tenth, which is 3, is not bigger than 5, we can just set 7 and 5 equals to 0, right? So that's what we're going to do here. We know that 7 here is greater than 5, right? So based on that, we can add 1 to this 3 here. So that would be 9.3 plus 1, right? So this is equals 9.4. And then we set 7 and 5 to 0, 0. Okay, so this basically is the same thing as 9.4 because these zeros don't matter anymore. Okay, so let's look at that. This is 9.4. So check. Okay, so basically, let me run through this. Let me run through it again. The first step that I took was I divided the fraction that was given, which was 3 over 32. Okay, and then when I divided it, I got 9.375. Okay, and that nine that's no I got 0.09375, right? And then in order for me to convert it to a percentage, I had to multiply by 100, which in that case I then got 9.375. And so that 9.375, I had to round it to the nearest tenth of a percent. Okay, and tenth basically is the number behind the decimal point. Okay, so let's say we have 5.234. The tenth in this case will be 2. The hundred will be 3. The 4 will be thousand. Right? So we're working with the tenth in this case. So we have to round this tenth to the nearest number it can be, right? And so to do that, to ask ourselves, what number comes before this tenth? The number that comes before the tenth is 3 in this case, right? And so we're gonna ask ourselves, is 3 greater than or less than 5? So if 3 is less than 5, which is true, that means you can just set this equals 5.2, and then we can remove these two and put it as 0, 0, which is same thing as 5.2, right? But if, let's say for example, the it was 5.274, right? We know 7 is greater than 5, right? So that means you can add 1 to the number that comes before 2, which will be 5.2 plus 1, and then set 7 and 4 to 0, which will be 0, 0. So this will be equals 5.3. Okay, so let's look at another example. Let's look at another more practice. Okay, so feel free to pause the video if you like and kind of test your knowledge. But if not, just you can work with me. Okay, so this is asking us to use the Alex calculator to write 49 over 46 as a percentage. Okay, so remember the first step is I want to divide the fraction given. Okay, so the fraction given in this case is 49 divided by 46. Okay, so let me come over here. This is 49 divided by 46. Okay, so we know 49 divided by 46 is 1.06521 blah blah blah, right? So we know that we already know that the the number we get from dividing the fraction is that, right? And so the next step is to multiply it by 100. Okay, so we say times 100, right? Because that's the only way we can make it a percentage in a percentage form if we multiply by 100. Because percentage has to do with hundreds, and when multiplied by 100, we're basically transforming it to a percentage form, right? So this is 106.521, right? So this is the percentage. Okay, so this is the percentage we get after doing everything, after working with the fractions. This is the percentage we'll get, which is 106.52. Okay, so we're asked to round our answer to the nearest tenth of a percent. Okay, so based on the previous example, the nearest tenth is should be 5, right? Because 5 is the t, because it's the one next to the decimal point. So 5 is the tenth, 2 is the hundred, and 1 is the thousand, which is represented as th. Okay, so we're gonna have to round the 10, the 5 in this case, to the nearest number. So to do that, we're gonna ask ourselves what number is after 5. Well, the number after 5 is 2, right? Which is here. I'm gonna ask ourselves, is 2 greater than or less than 5? 2 is less than 5, right? We know for a fact 2 is less than 5. And since it's less than 5, we can just set every other thing here to 0, and then just leave this 5 here, because it doesn't matter. But let's say for example 2 was 7, right? We know 7 is greater than 5, so that means you can add 5 to 1. So we'll say 5 plus 1, and then set all the rest of the numbers as 0, right? So this 2 is less than 5, so that means you can't do anything, right? So we're gonna have to set every other thing here to 0. So that means 106.5, and then every other thing to 0. So it's just 0. Replace all the numbers here with 0. So this is 106.50, which is the same thing as 106.5. Okay, so let's check that out. 106.5%. Okay, So let's look at another example again, more practice. Okay, so this question we've been asked to use the Alex calculator to write 13 over 32 as a percentage. Okay, so we're gonna work with this question like we've worked with the previous question. So the first step, we divide the fraction given to us, right? So the fraction given to us is 13 divided by 32, which is 0.40625. Okay, so 0.40625, that is what we get from dividing the fractions. So the next step is to multiply it by 100 so that it could be in a percentage form. Okay, so when we multiply by 100, we get 40.625, right? So this currently is the percentage, right? This is 13 over 32 in a percentage format. So we need to round 40.625 to the nearest tenth of a percent, right? And so the nearest tenth is 6. 6 is the tenth value in this case because it's the number after the decimal point, right? So we're gonna have to look at the number next to 6, which is 2, and ask ourselves if 2 is greater than or equal or greater than or less than 5, right? So we know 2 is less than 5, and since it's less than 5, that means there's nothing we can actually do to add. We can't actually add 1 to 6 because 2 is less than 5. But if let's say 2 was greater than, let's say 2 was 7, right? 7 is greater than 5, so that means we'll be able to add 1 to 6. But in this case 2 is less than 5, so that means all we have to do is just set 2 and 5 to zeros because there's nothing we can do again. Since 2 is less than 0, is less than 5, we automatically set 2 and 5 to 0 because they don't work, right? So because we can't actually do any other thing with them. So when we do that, that's just 40.60, which equals 40.6. Okay, so let me put that in quick. 40.6. Okay. Yeah, so thank you very much for watching the video. I really hope they helped out, and have a nice day.